Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this game. I'm going to do dual commentary. So what that means is on my turn, I will be talking about my plays, and on my opponent's turn, he will be talking about his plays. My opponent is Kenji Matsumoto. He's finished top 5 at Nationals several times. He's significantly better than I am, and he'll have a lot of cool things to say. So we'll be cutting this video, and you'll see my plays, and then you'll see his plays, and then I'll come back. To give us a little more time to talk, we're going to make it a 25-minute game instead of a 20-minute game. So this video could be a little bit longer. But I hope you guys like this new format.
Hey guys, so this is Kenji Matsumoto. I'm going to be playing Matt Canik. I'm a little bit rusty, hopefully I'll be playing pretty well, but I guess I hope every game that I play pretty well. We will see. I'm going to try to play more word-oriented than usual. That doesn't mean completely. I'm certainly not afraid of some sort of defensive word against Matt, but my general strategy is going to be playing a little bit more open. I think I'm going to have a slight word knowledge edge. So ABIILT blank. I'm looking for bingos, obviously. I mostly just go through the alphabet. So A, B, C, albitic. It's probably going to be the best play. D, E, F, G. I'll stop reciting the alphabet. I think you all know I know the alphabet. And albitic is pretty sure the only bingo that's going to play. I think tibials is actually also a word. I think it's new. But I don't want to play it. I'd rather play albitic.
All right, Kenji opens with albitic. That's a word I don't know, but it's probably a word. I don't especially care that I don't know it because it gives me my own counter bingo. Um, Actually, I have a filthy play of OT is not a word, never mind. But it gives me totalize. That's really dangerous. It ends one space short of a double double, or a double word square, rather. I can play it over here instead. It's 79 points instead of the 84 I'll be getting here. So I'm only giving up 5 points to move it over and take the less risky play. But I'm the underdog against Kenji. He is a better player than me, probably, and he's a little bit rusty right now. And so the extra variance I get for putting totalize there is probably a good thing. One concern is that I don't know if totalize takes a back hook of an R. I know it takes a D and an S on the end. And Kenji probably knows what it takes. Um, if I were more sure of the hook, I think I would play it here. But because I don't know if it takes an R, I'm going to go ahead and move it over. Just play it a little bit safer. That may telegraph to Kenji that I know it doesn't take an R, or he may just think I'm being a defensive player. I don't know. But here we go, totalize.
Alright, so he plays totalize. So the first thing I look for is bingos. I've been looking even before he's made his play. I say impawned. That's obviously not going to work. So then I'm looking for either double doubles or parallels. I don't think Weidman or anything like that is going to be a word. I see Damon. I'd really like to use the W. I'm not sure if waned is a word. It's between Damon, which is 49, and waned, which is 43. Pretty sure I'm not going to go with waned. I'm not even sure if it's a word, actually. But it doesn't matter because it's not the best play, so I don't have to think about that. Damon lets me overlap with the W again, so if I draw an A or an E, I can overlap. And I don't think there's really too much else to think about here. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not missing any sort of bingo. Even if there was a 2x2, I wouldn't play it. And Damon goes down.
So Kenji is going to play diamond, and that gives me. I've got a bingo. I've got moon sail down to this L. I don't think I have a bingo through that D. I don't think I know the word diamond either. I know it doesn't take an S, but I guess it's a plural of dieman, another word I don't know. That's 2 turns in a row Kenji's played a word I don't know. Um, but that's fine. Kenji did block my double-double. I had emotions. I guess that's the lack of motion or something. Through that T for a bunch of points. It would have been 90. I don't think I have anything through that D. So, looks like I'm going to play Moonsail.
Alright, soy bingos again. Before this play, I was thinking about playing eruves, making totalizes, and that's starting to look a lot less good. I have 2 W's, I'd like to get rid of at least one of them. And I have UVW, which is anti-synergic through the moon. Not really liking my options too much. I have Vrau through the O. I still have eruves. I don't really want to play a defensive board. I certainly might have to. This board isn't looking too open. I'm not going to play Vrows. The 8 points is just not worth it. Really would like to get rid of some of the duplication. Play Wet, but Wet isn't an option that keeps UVW. So right now I'm really pretty much thinking of either maybe Von or probably not. Probably playing Vrau. Just gonna go through and see if there's any other options. Roofs is just not enough. It's 33. I need to draw a W, and even if I do, it's just not worth it. Vrau's really much looking like the play, pretty much. I see no reason to keep looking.
Alright, Kenji clears up a junky rack there with Vrau. He plays off the V and the U and the W all at the same time. I've drawn a kind of junk rack too. I can't complain. I've bingoed on the first 2 turns, but I've got 3 E's, an I, and a U all together. So most ideally, I want to be getting rid of some of these tiles. One thing that pops into mind right away is Eve here for 18. It keeps EINTU, which it's a pretty risky leave. You know, it can draw bingos pretty often, but if it doesn't draw bingos, if I draw 2 vowels, I'm sunk again, and I'm going to be scoring nothing. And if I don't draw bingo and I draw some 1-pointers, then I'm not going to be able to score almost any points at all. So I'd like to play a little bit longer than Eve. I'd like to play off a few more tiles, but I'm not seeing plays that do that score a lot of points. I mean, there's something ridiculous like Auntie over here, but there's no way you could ever play that. It sets up huge points. But ideally, I'd like to be getting rid of about that many tiles. I don't see any good plays down from the B. Yeah, I don't see anything there. I do see Enui here. I don't know how exactly you say that word. EN-N-U-I for 12. I'm giving up 8 or 6 points to make this play instead of Eve. I'm holding EET, which is not significantly better. It makes me a little more comfortable, but I just don't think it's worth giving up all the points for that. Eve may also set Kenji off that I'm a little bit more prone, bingo prone, than he thinks I am. Inui also has the plus side of playing off 2 more tiles to try and hit maybe a D down here, but with the board with this many scoring opportunities are still here. There's still the 6 column, the 8 column, and the K row. I feel pretty comfortable that I'll be able to score no matter what. So I don't think I want to play Inui. I think Eve is going to be a better play. I'm not going to go ahead and put on the NT at the end of that because I'm going to hold 3 vowels. But putting just the N on the end, making even, that's 6 extra points to get rid of 1 more consonant, and I do think that's going to be worth it here. Yeah, that's got to be worth it. So I'll go ahead and play even, score a little bit more, and we'll see what I draw.
So he plays even, and I have wifey's blank on my rack. I'm pretty sure there's no 7s. The only 8 I see with this rack is Lifeways, and there's no open L, and the open A is just not very good. It doesn't fit. So I have wifeys in 2 spots. I have wifeys here for 48, and I have wifey here for 43. Now, that spot of wifey has more overlaps, but it does save the S. He plays even, and I have to try to figure out how often he has the S. Wifey's in the first spot is probably a little positionally better in terms of board shaping. Even though when the game started I wanted a more offensive board, it's generally going to probably turn out better for me to have something more defensive given how the board is, because it makes things a little bit more complicated. That being said, I'm going to want to use the blind to bingo, and any bingo is going to really open up the board anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Wifey playing for 43 is going to leave a lot better scoring options for him. And it really just comes down to what I think his range is after even. So let's think about this for a minute. So even could certainly keep like ENRT, and that would certainly be perfectly reasonable. I mean, with that he'd have retinine in this particular case, but something like that, ELRN, something like that. But in that case, I don't really mind leaving, I don't really mind leaving E open, because if he has two E's that he's willing to play so easily, he's probably got a third E, especially considering he didn't take that long to play it. He could very easily have an S. He could have like ELNR, he could have like ENS something, ENOS, something like that. I don't really mind that either. He doesn't have the blank because I used the blank and I have the other blank, so the strongest thing he can have is really some sort of S lead like that. And if it's all 1-point tiles, then I don't really mind leaving the wifey's hook open, because it's usually not going to hurt me too badly. And there's no reason that he has to have the S here either. He could just have a bunch of vowels. I certainly don't see a reason why he doesn't have like AEIN here. I don't think it's very likely that he has high point tiles in his rack. But all this given said, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing to leave wifey, or to make wifey and leave all the parallel options. So I'm definitely leaning towards this. I'm going to think about it a little bit more. It does leave QI. There's no way he has the Q here. Well, I won't say no way. It's not very likely. I guess it's actually pretty possible. There's not really any QI spots. It's possible. It doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, it's just not positionally good enough. I mean, this S hook isn't really that great for me if he has it, because it's fairly likely he has it. I would guess it's maybe 40 to 50%. And if he doesn't have it, he's going to block it a lot. But I think it's still probably a net benefit for me. I'm going to use it to pound him pretty hard when I have S blank. So, all things considered, I think wifey's probably the play here. I'm going to play it.
Kenji hits me hard. He scores 43 there with wifey. Again, more junky tiles for him, and he's able to work his way out and score a good amount of points in the process. And my even play sort of backfired on me. I kept EITU, I picked up AIO, and now I've got 6 vowels. So there really only seem to be about 2 options here. The first one is audio for 6 points, keeping EIT. And the second one is exchanging, probably holding ET. You look at how many E's are remaining, there's 6. That's about where it should be right now. We can actually count all the vowels. There's 10, 12, 16, and I don't see the U's over here, but there's just 1 on the board. So 19 vowels in 54 unseen tiles. It puts us a little bit consonant heavy, but not that much. So ET is probably still what I would keep here. I don't see any spot for the new word outa or auto. I could also play oidia up here if I wanted to, but I'd rather keep EIT than EUT. And putting the O or the A here, I'd rather put the O here. The downside to playing audio, in addition to scoring 6 points and telegraphing, I'm probably holding a few more vowels. I don't think that's a big deal, but is that I'm setting up a big scoring spot for Kenji right here. But with huge overlaps available with wifey, plays down here available, plays through here available, I don't think another scoring spot is a big concern. If the board were more closed, I'd be exchanging here, but since we've got so many options available, I will play audio.
So he plays audio, and he sets up something, perhaps. I'm a little fishy at this play. I really don't think he would do this with like AEL or something like that, AEN. He does have vowels, which I thought was possible last turn, although I thought he might have saved the N. He still might have an N. I'm definitely going to try to put them on leaves first, especially since I have a rat that isn't too obvious as to what I should do. Could have the X, you could have like XI. I don't think that's too likely. There's XI for like 43 already. If he does, I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah. Next thing I do is I'm going to look for bingos. There's a lot of good lanes. There's this I and there's this I. And there's also the CA parallel, possibly. And this is going to take a while. I have to actually manage my time a little bit here, too, because it's going to take many, many minutes to try to figure out everything in terms of what the options are. So first I'm going to look at the two I's. I'm going to go letter by letter. I do literally go letter by letter. A is nothing, B is nothing, C is calories, which doesn't play, and carrioles, which doesn't play. I'm trying to think of whether oralizes is good here. Solarize is good before. I don't think it's new. I know it wasn't old. It used to only be solarized, so I don't think so. So anyway, D, nothing, E, nothing, F, nothing. I'd really like to play over here. The problem is that the blank has to be whatever this is hooking. Locators and sectoral, so it's not going to work. Well, let me just finish the I's. So I is Girasol, Gasolier, and Seraglio. That doesn't work. H is Cholier and air holes. That doesn't work. I, J, K, L, M, N, alieners and ailerons. No. O, P, polarize and polarias. So polarize fits here. It's 81 or so. Not really a fan. There's always a default of aerosol on the bottom, and aerosol is better than polarize. R, S, it's the same as polarize. T, U, V, varioles and valorize. W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so there's nothing there. Let's just make sure there's no parallels. So WE is going to be N. T. No. Okay. We should probably look for TE double doubles too. Almost arterioles. Maybe even STE, that would be kind of sick. Overlates. It's probably not even worth it because it's 8 points times 4 is going to be 82. It's probably not even worth it. I'd actually rather create something that's going to neutralize this O a little bit. If I'm going to create a bingo. So I'd actually rather do solarize than, or polarize than, yeah, I'd actually rather have some other spot. I'm going to probably have to do something about the reparallel over here. Sorry if this is all a little bit confusing. Aerosol 71 plus 14, 15, 86. And solarize is 81, so it's not even worth it. And I'm actually not even sure that's good. I'm pretty sure it's good. Yeah. It creates the O and the S over here. He played 4 tiles, so he could easily draw something. Also makes his life really easy if he did draw like the J or something like that. And if not, he's just going to block. This only needs like an F or an H. There's going to be plenty of spots afterwards. There's this reparallel. So by creating another spot, you're not really doing much. So I'm just going to go with aerosol.
Kenji bingos for 86, and that's not good for me at all. He did play both of the letters I needed for a bingo. I needed an R for toastier or an L for totalize. That's all I saw, but not in the right spots. So now I'm down almost 90 points, and I've got not the best rack right now. So initially I was thinking about playing Biota here for 14. It holds EST, which is nice and balanced. But I kind of, well, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do because I kind of want to limit Kenji's scoring options. When you're down, you don't really want to leave spots for your opponent to score 40 every turn on the board because if they do that, even if you get your bingo or two, you're probably still going to lose. You want to make it tough for them to score, and you want to be able to bingo. But with this spot available, and this spot available, and this spot available all at the same time, Kenji's going to be scoring well next turn. My job, I think, right now is to just try and make it as easy for me to bingo to get back in this game as possible. Biota seems like a solid play. It will stop the hard-hitting plays here, but that doesn't do anything about here or here. And I don't see a whole lot of other options, really. A lot of players here will see, oh, I can keep EIST, so I might as well play off OAT anywhere I can for the most amount of points. I think people are too quick to fish sometimes. Now, Tau here is going to be 14. It holds EIST, and if we look at the unseen vowels, there's 10, there's 13 out of 43. So because we're so consonant heavy, I'm more comfortable keeping EIST. I've been in vowel jail almost this entire game. Another option I just noticed now is OT. It's only 13, and it blocks this E a little bit. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I want to limit these scoring plays. The E's nice for me to bingo from. But I also don't want Kenji to score a lot. I think I'm just going to err on the side of the extra point because I don't know what to do. Maybe there's some better options here. I better think a little bit longer here. This is a kind of important turn. I'm scoring 14, and if I don't hit a bingo next turn, I'm probably sunk. If I want to score a little bit more and be a little more aggressive, I can play Cat. I'll get 19 points for that, which is more than my other options so far. And I keep a worse leave. There's no doubt that EIOST is worse than anything else, and I just don't think I can do that. It's going to be tough for me to bingo next turn. I'm going to have to draw one starting with an S here, or maybe go through one of these tiles if Kenji doesn't block. And the first thing on... Oh, you know what, I didn't notice this, but I will be able to draw 7 that fits right here with aerosols. So there are going to be options. That's not what the Tau is what I'm supposed to play. So Tau seems like a solid play, but a lot of players would just immediately find the worst 2 or 3 tiles on the rack and play it. I don't think that's the way you need to approach racks like this. In this case, I think it's right.
So he plays Tau, it's 14. I have, again, a pretty good rack, A, B, E, K, and ST. There's actually quite a lot of options here. And this too might take a while. I'm actually only have 12 minutes left, so I have to actually maybe play a little bit faster than I otherwise want to. With Kaz, I have bassinet as an overlap here for 46. But just because I have that doesn't mean I have to play it. The S is pretty decent on this board, not necessarily as a tile, but as blocking. I also have Ken over here. Ken is 33, bassinet is 46. I'm actually leaning towards Ken a little bit right now, because even though the S isn't useful, it's still somewhat useful. I have tab next turn, which is pretty much guaranteed. Or fairly guaranteed. My rack can turn really ugly, and I have a lead, so I really don't want the rack to turn ugly. I really would like to block a lot of the big scoring options, so this I over here, and this I over here. I guess both plays do that, but... bassinet is attractive because if you draw any O, you're going to do this. You're going to hit Ko over here for 30-something. You can also play Ni, and that just doesn't block well enough, and Ken is just better than every way. Something that you can eliminate quite quickly, even though it's a very good play. And yeah, I'm just going to play Ken. You can play based on that as well. It's a little bit more flashy.
So kind of like I thought, Kenji's going to play KEN over there. I did not draw my bingo down here with aerosols, but I do have a new TWL3 bingo. It just got added. Swadier? I don't even know how to say that, but I'm almost certain it's good in TWL3. And I don't see any 9s. I'm not going to look too hard. I'll save the time and go ahead and put this down.
He bingos pretty quickly. But that's fine. I have the case S now, and that's pretty big. Pubic shouts out immediately. I don't really see myself getting away from it. It's 44. I could play something like Tacit or something like that, but it keeps BP. I don't want to do that. Pack keeps B. I don't want to do that. I'm playing Pubic pretty quickly.
Kenji plays Pubic for 44. That really hurts me because I had a 50-point X play right here. I didn't draw any of the unseen vowels, and we're pretty consonant heavy. That's kind of what happens when I have vowels on my rack for several turns in a row. And now I'm stuck in a really difficult position. I'm down about 80 points. I don't really have any good plays. I'm going to have to exchange and go down more. And yeah, it's probably a game I'm going to lose at this point. A little good for me is it can still fit a bingo here, or if he plays on this side, it'll most of the time open plays over here. If you play in front of an R, you open up a whole bunch of stuff behind it. So the odds of me getting a bingo down are decent, but it's not looking good for me right now. I got to think about what I want to hold. There's 2 D's remaining, so I don't really want to hold that D. G's are horrible. I'll get rid of those. There's no L's left, so I'm a little more apt to keep that. Do I want to hold the X? The X is a weird exchange tile. You almost always want to look at the board when thinking about exchanging an X. Can I put this X anywhere for a lot of points? And you want to look at the dark blue squares, the triple letters. Nope, 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 nope. So it looks like no good X spots for me. Here, I can play ticks, but I would need a word starting with X. That's not going to happen. The X is just not a great tile to have right now, and so I'm happy to get rid of it. So do I want to hold the L? Do I want to hold the P? Or do I want to hold the PL? Or do I just want to throw it all back? To answer that question, I usually look at the vowel consonant ratio, and we see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 26 vowels, which is a little bit consonant heavy even, I think. So I probably just want to hold on to one of these, not both. Since there's so many spots to put the P here and here and here, I think that's the one I want to keep instead of the L. So I'll exchange DGGLVX.
So he exchanges. His rack is probably awful. There's only 7 vowels in the pool, and there's 26 tiles unseen. So I probably want to keep some vowels. Luckily for me, I have 3 vowels, the A, the U, and the Y. I really wouldn't want to use them, though, if I don't have to. So I really wouldn't want to make a play like Yar, for example, and use one of them really kind of unnecessarily. Although, I might consider Yar. I like Refry for that reason. It keeps the A and the U. There's also the Q in the back, and there's no good spots for it. And I really should prepare for it, because I'm really looking at ways that I can lose this game. And the Q is one of them. So if I keep the U and I keep QAT as a possibility, the Q is much less likely to become a negative factor. Which is especially the case because he exchanged 6. It means that it's fairly likely he has that. So I definitely want to keep vowels, and I definitely want to keep options for the Q. And that's really leaning me towards Refry right now. Yar is an option. Yar is an option here. Curry, I guess, is an option. I kind of want to leave something or do something that makes really miracle plays unlikely, but I don't even see what real plays I need to avoid. It's really hard to bingo here, but that is what I need to avoid. There's no line that's stupendous here. And yeah, it's hard to hit this for a lot. It's more likely he's going to hit 2 bingos than hit 1 bingo that hits me really hard. And Refry does a really good job of making sure that I have something playable no matter what I draw. Especially since I've gotten rid of the Y, and there's all these high point tiles in the pool. So I'm going with Refry.
Kenji plays refry. That to me looks like he's got consonants, as do I. My exchange didn't really pay off. I pulled 5 more clunky consonants and an O. So ideally, I'd like to play the word John, John, here, but that's not something I can do. Kenji has knocked out the aerosols hook with his last play, so that really leaves me here and like marginal bingos from the C. I'm going to need bingos to get back into this game. Um, I can play Jin here for 22, keep FHOP. Now that's not going to bingo next turn, hardly at all. But if I play Fo over here, something like that, I mean, I'm still not going to bingo next turn. Pretty much regardless, I'm not going to bingo next turn. So I was wary of playing Phone because I would knock out the aerosols hook, but since Kenji's already done that, I am less wary. I hold the J, and I can probably cash it in for 30 over here next turn while scoring 33 this turn. I've got to keep scoring points, or even if I do draw my bingo, it's not going to be enough. It makes it pretty easy for Kenji to end this game, though. Just a little play here with the right tile, and that's it. But I don't know. This seems like a decent strategy to me. Play off for 33, play the J next turn, and just pray that I end up with something decent. So I'll do it. We'll see what I get.
He plays phone, and I have an embarrassment of riches now. I drew the other A, which pretty much puts me with the nuts here. The most important thing to realize when I draw that A is that now I have the exclusive hook to its TE thing. I have both the U and both A's. So there's no tile in this pool that will hook here, which means that I get the spot myself. And that's going to actually prove really useful. So, for example, I could play Dag here, which is 26, or I could play Kaji here, which is also 26. Or, I'm sorry, it's 27. Dag here is 26. But I'd actually much rather play Kaji because I have the A and the U for this spot. I'm probably not going to use the U here because I want to save the U for the Q, if at all possible. But if I draw some really high point tiles, I can actually just bury them over here with something like Gap or something like that. Or Tap, I guess. And that's really useful for me at this score. Again, really the only way I can lose is a bingo, but it's going to be really hard for him. He has to play something like an EX play over here, or an EX play over here, or something like that. I could block, but it's just not really worth it. He's still going to have some long shots either way. And I'm just going to assume he's going to bingo next turn, because, again, it's the only way I can lose. But all things considered, I think Kaji's the play.
An interesting fit there for Kenji. Wow. 27 points too. So my plan sort of paid off. I can cash Jag in over here for 27, keep CEINP, which looks like a decent bingo leave. One thing I want to start thinking about is the Q. It's still gone. There is a U out, but we're on a pretty closed off board at this point. And kind of want to start thinking about Q sticking him. So there's this eye here, this eye here. If I could get a Q stick on Kenji and bingo, that seems like a path to actually winning this game. So if I had a decent 4-letter word to play over here, maybe Jape is even worth it. Keep CGIN. You know, the C and the G together are not too solid, but with the IN in there making ING, I don't think it's the worst thing, and I can play like orc words here if Kenji doesn't block that. I'm surprised it's still there, to be honest. I am giving up a vowel in a game with hardly any vowels left. Yeah, there's just 5 left in the entire pool, and maybe one or two of those are probably on Kenji's rack. So I don't know that I want to give up that extra vowel. Is it worth it to try and get the Q stick on him? If I'm keeping ING, then I probably only need one more vowel to bingo. Can I draw one vowel? It's an interesting question. I could maybe get that E. I think the A would actually be better for bingoing with this particular leave. May also give Kenji questions about how many vowels I have left. If he sees me playing one off, then he may think I have another one. Or maybe not. Maybe he'll just, that's my only play there. So I really don't know if I want to play Jape or if I want to play Jag. I'm gonna have to sacrifice points to score almost nothing to block this Q spot, so I don't know if the Q stick approach is the right thing to do here, and I feel like Kenji's smarter than almost anyone else, and he'll be able to weasel his way out of it. Um, let's see, 29 points. That put me at 328, so I'll be down about 80 in a turn. I think the Q stick is almost going to have to happen in addition to my bingo to win this game. So I'm going to get greedy. I'm going to try it. This may end up costing me some spread, but I'll play Jape here.
So he plays Jape. He actually blocks my whole A and E spot, my A and my U spot. And I have ADQRSTU, so with an open A, I'd have quadrats. This game's pretty much over. I'm up by 78, and I have most of the vowels in the pool. Theoretically, I should probably try to avoid disaster as best as I could. That probably means that I should probably do some sort of setup. I don't think pubics is a word, but it might be. I don't really have to think about it too much because I'm not going to take any sort of risk when it comes to that at this score. I should probably think about it a little bit more. If the score were closer, I definitely would. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is looking for an option that is going to do well even if he has some amazing rack. So, for example, what would be an amazing rack that he could have? Hedging, or yeah, something like that. Some bingo through this, either through the bottom, hooking EL, or something in row 12 or row 11. I'm sorry, column 12 or column 11. Could play dequats. That's going to probably outlast any bingo, but it's just not worth it. Again, I really like to keep some vowels just in case something goes wrong. Ideally, what I want to do is I want to set up some sort of scoring spot that helps this Q out. Also, there's some utility in playing something like squad and leaving one tile in the bag, because even if they bingo, then they have one tile. That being said, it's a little bit scary, I guess, because I could draw 7 consonants and they bingo. The squad scores, let's see, 24, 5, 34, so they bingo, they're down by like 30 and they have one tile to play. I guess it's going to be pretty hard for them to win that way. I'm trying to figure out a way to be greedy. I almost certainly have a better rack. I'm much more likely to bingo. But that means getting rid of the Q. I can't really keep the Q on this board. It's not going to score very well. And I don't really see a way of doing that right now. Of getting rid of the Q in a good way. I could play QIS, I guess. But why? Especially since there might be some, 90-point play and he could draw really badly. And 90-point play is when he has 4 tiles, he could draw something amazing. Not very likely, but he could. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards squad right now, just because it's safe. I don't deny it, something like QIS might actually be better. But it probably is. QIS leaves overlaps over here. I just don't want to see some sort of 95-point bingo like Helving come down. It wouldn't be it's probably not very good, and it would feel even worse. It would feel something that was completely avoidable. I could also just play squad here and score less, but I would turn the odds of him bingoing completely into absurdly bad. The I would be blocked, this U and A wouldn't exist, these lines wouldn't exist. The only line that would exist is the aerosol line, and he'd have to bingo with... I don't even see a bingo, like an EX bingo. I don't even see anything, though, that scores well enough to even be remotely a threat. I'm going to have this EI to play through, this I to play through, even if things go really badly somehow. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Again, I don't think it's necessarily the best play. It's a very safe play, and pretty much nothing can go wrong. I guess you could play squatting, but even then I'm not going to lose this game. So this is a safe play I think always wins, no matter what I draw. Or no matter what Yeah, and no matter what he has.
So Kenji is able to play off the cue. He's got all the right stuff he needs, and he's able to block a lot of bingo lines at the same time, and that pretty much looks like GG for me. Um, I was hoping because he spent so long on the next turn or last turn that maybe something bad was going to happen, but doesn't seem to be the case. I could try and fish off this X or something and draw the right thing, but Kenji's going to know exactly what my rack is and he's going to be able to block it. So I think at this point in time it's best just to throw down hexing, score 45 points, and cut the spread on this thing a little bit. Throw in the towel. If I draw the V, I'm in bad shape. I'll probably eat it, but whatever. This has to be right, hexing.
He plays hexing and leaves VC. So he's very likely to be stuck with the V or the C or both. And let me look quickly. He has cores. There's no opening. He has ticks. I can't trap him with the C. What does he have with the V? I think nothing. I'm still thinking nothing. I'm gonna go with nothing. Yeah, so in that case I can actually play slow. And I will do that. Something that sets up that he can't block, because he's stuck by playing his C off. He has no other recourse. So I mean I could play like leg and just go out, but so I gorge. I'm looking for like a 3-tile play that actually hooks. So Grot doesn't hook. Grego, that doesn't hook. Okay, maybe there isn't anything that hooks directly, but okay, now I'm running low on time, so I might just end up playing something safe and quick. So yeah, I'll just play reg, and then I'll play TO, and then I'll play off the tiles individually. And nothing really to say. Looking for tiles individually, not much to say here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go out. And that's the game, folks. So yeah, I definitely drew better this game. I don't really have much to say about it. I drew both blanks. I drew all the good spots. After I bingoed, I had wifey and S on the blank. I drew the opening bingo. I think some things I did were pretty questionable. I think a lot of what I did you can definitely debate as to what actually is best. I don't think squad was necessarily best. I think you can argue about, I may have missed something with aerosol. I probably missed something else. I may have missed something with diamond as well. But yeah, good game, Matt. Hope to see you soon.
I want to put this down as fast as I can. And there's the game. So, yeah, I out bingoed Kenji 3-2 here, and I was still able to lose by over 100 points. Part of that was just getting into vowel treble early in the game, scoring 14 with Tau, 6 with audio, not very much with even, while Kenji's just able to score every single turn. Part of the lesson here is don't get into vowel treble. And don't stick yourself with the V. I said it might happen. Yep, it happened. But overall, I think it was a fun game, and I'd like to see what you guys have to say. Let me know if you like this new format too. Let me know if you like the dual commentaries or if you just want to hear me ramble on the whole game. All right, peace out, y'all.